Welcome to the Black Science Podcraft. This is a cross between a podcast and a presentation where you'll have one speaker delivering a concept, a theory, an idea to the other. So the goal is to allow you to critically analyse these points and to see if they hold any weight. So why black science? So there's a few reasons behind the term black science. Stay tuned to find out.
Can damage the view. Like, we're going to go to our Umar case study, right? So, this charisma and being able to garner attention and just being able to garner, clout, long and short, by being charismatic, saying powerful things, rage baiting, all these things that we just doing, all these things can give someone this notoriety wrongfully. And if that person is attached to a certain ideal that is positive, right, like Pan-Africanism, I would argue is positive, right? Like a Umar, then you have the problem when it turns out that a Umar is a scam artist. Now, Pan-Africanism takes a hit. Takes a hit. It's tarnished. Anyone thinks about Pan-Africanism, they think about the king of Pan-Africanism, King Kong consciousness, all these things, and it just looks mad. So, we move. Umar, he was a school psychologist. Everyone's heard of him. Notoriety online after a Breakfast Club interview, right? He got really big, went viral. Has a Pan-Africanist message, and talks to the global black diaspora. He had a school project. He's got the buildings, right? He got 3 buildings, but it's not a school. It's just 3 buildings with some paint on them. Inside of those buildings looks like a mess.
3 abandoned buildings.
Have you got pictures of them to put in?
Yeah, I'll put some up so they can see what they look like. Yeah.
Interviews with people. I realized that a lot of people were not aware of this school. And if they were, they thought that it was actually legitimate and one day it would open. I'm here to tell you, this school is not going to open. He was born on August 21st, 1974 in North Philadelphia. He later adopted the name Umar Rashad Abdallah Johnson, also going by Umar Ifatande Johnson. He often styles himself out as Dr. Umar or Prince of Pan-Africanism. Now, his plans were to buy St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia. It was historically a black college, and he wanted to buy it to make this boarding school. Now, what's crazy about this entire situation is, like I said, this whole ordeal started in 2014. He fundraised a lot of money for this. At the time, the fundraiser thing is already a problem because it's like there's so many different amounts out there. Totally, it is believed he's raised anywhere from $400,000 to $700,000. There's rumors that there's more. There's rumors that there's less.
African-centered school based off the principles of Pan-Africanism and international economics.
So, of course, getting the building was only the first step. The Moyer Academy structures were rough, okay? They needed extensive repairs. They needed to be code compliant. They had to get the HVAC together because it literally, the building was practically falling apart and still is. It was August 19th. And this is what the school looks like.
Colorful ass door. I don't think that was painted, but it looks exactly the same. Wait, nope, they put a gate up. I don't think that gate was there because me and my friend last time, we walked back there. There's windows now. They're no longer boarded up. Okay. Mind you, this is also part of the school. So this building was purchased for his sham of a school, but as you guys can see, there hasn't been a damn thing done. Really? Except for windows. But these shits are still boarded up.
But as you guys can tell, the only notable differences here are the fact that now the main building has windows.
The old school sign's still up there, even though it's got the FDMG signs that are painted. He's still got the old school sign. I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah, the old school, what it was called before. So he's painted it and not even taking down the old school building, sign.
It's still a mess. It's still a jolting. So he raised 1.2 mil, right? Apparently.
Yeah.
Wow.
You told me this. He spent 400,000 on the buildings.
Yeah, you were breaking.
Yeah,
which would leave something like 800k, and then all of a sudden, not too long ago, he had 40 to 80k in fees, outstanding fees for some tax
What became clear with that situation, because I've been watching a guy called Lennon Lennon Honor.
That the total minimum FDMG Academy donations raised by Umar Johnson at the end of 2023 was $1,593,354. Umar Johnson's Form 990 document for the year 2024 shows that Umar Johnson raised $84,506 in 2024. We can now add the $84,506 raised in 2024 to the total minimum FDMG Academy donations raised. Calculation shows that the total minimum FDMG Academy donations raised by Umar Johnson at the end of 2024 was $1,677,860. Therefore, it can be factually stated that Umar Johnson has raised a bare minimum of $1,677,860 in FDMG Academy donations through the year 2024. A critical question that we should ask is, why did Umar Johnson tell people in April of 2025 that he had not raised $1 million in FDMG Academy donations?
Now, mind you, Black Lives Matter raised what? $100 million? I don't think they ever got audited. We never broke $1 million. We got audited the year before last, and we had to show them everything. The man was
You ain't broke $1 million?
Nah, close to it, but we ain't broke $1 million, which is fine.
February 6th, 2024 marks the 14-year anniversary of Umar Johnson's 2010 Facebook post where he wrote, promises in 2010 to begin laying the groundwork for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Pan-African School for Black Boys, specializing in learning disabilities and disruptive behavior disorders. This will be a private school, and yes, you will pay in order for your son to attend. Grand opening, September 11th, 2013. This is chess, not checkers. 14 years later, and there is still no school. 14 years later, and not one boy has been educated. 14 years later, and Umar Johnson continues to collect money for a school that does not exist.
Honor Lennon, and it looks as though the backdated taxes and utility bills have been going on since 2021. So at least for 4 years, he would have known that he owes certain money. I think he had a tax exemption for the first year.
Didn't he get the properties in 2022?
2019.
Okay.
He bought the properties, and I think he had like maybe 6 months of tax exemption, and it's almost like he just said, oh yeah, I've got exemption, I don't have to pay for nothing. And he's gone 4 or 5 years without paying a thing. So it got to a point where Wilmington, Delaware, I think it's Wilmington, Delaware, said, listen, if you don't pay it by the end of September, the 40, 35 or 37 grand, we're going to auction those buildings. Yeah. And I think, I don't know who, but I assume, because he had his accounts frozen, that someone online said that they had offered to pay for it.
I saw an offer. I didn't know he took it.
Yeah, but I think if he didn't take it, those buildings would have gone into auction in September. So we would have heard that.
So we're assuming, we don't know. Yeah, we're assuming the money.
We're assuming that someone paid for it. But it was clear at that point that he was unable to pay for it. His accounts got frozen, and it appeared that he didn't have the money to pay for it. Even though it looks like he had maybe 800k left from the purchase of the school building, it doesn't look as though he's been.
Okay, and if you guys are not aware, you can also look up the tax forms. And that's what I'm not really understanding about this entire thing. People have been donating to this man for over a decade and never thought to Google the tax forms, never thought to Google what's really going on. They just took his word for it. And that's what I need y'all to understand. Don't take anybody's word for anything. Look it the fuck up. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's Dr. Umar. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your dad. Look into what exactly people are telling you, because 9 times out of 10, people are going to lie when it comes to something of this scale. It is not hard to look up any nonprofit's revenue, what they made, what came in, what they were using it towards. And what's very funny about literally every tax return I found is everything says 0. It's like expenses 0, zero, but it's like 600,000 this year, 500,000 this year. I don't understand. So you can't tell me you don't got $40,000. You should have $40,000 to pay these taxes. At that point, I was like, nope, it's time to make the video.
Keeping up with the bills. And his lifestyle of kind of traveling the world, doing speaking engagements. I mean, I've seen, and then Lennon Honor, I've seen some egregious accusations around him flying women out to hotels, eating out. It doesn't look like, it looks like he's been living a lifestyle way beyond his means with people's money. And I was a staunch defender of his right up until some of these videos was coming out this year.
I'm not gonna lie, like I always thought he was fishy, but I fully believed. I just thought he's just not good at building the school. But I didn't think he was a scammer. I believe
He's a scammer.
Yeah,
I've got an email
definitely looks the way. I honestly just thought he was just not a good businessman, not good with money. But his intentions were sincere. Like, he wanted to build a school. He's just not good at building a school. But
Umar's full of shit.
What happened with Dr. Umar?
Get to it, but
Friend of the show.
I don't believe him. Dr. Umar went on the internet and said, I'm broke, send me some shit. They fucked with my Chase account. All my money's disappeared. I don't know what he said.
Is that what he does? Like,
no, I said, I really don't know what you're talking about. So, he didn't say he was broke. He just said that his funds are frozen.
Yeah.
Which is different. Like,
okay, that's different.
Like, he got, like, someone hacked into his account. Sometimes when the people hack into your account, you can't access the money.
They freeze your account.
And so right now, the only way he can access money is through PayPal. Yo, all the girls y'all making it a joke.
He's saying he's a scammer.
Well, he's had countless people offer assistance, like experts in education offer their expertise. His background in Philadelphia comes from kind of these kind of revolutionary Pan-African
UNIC
schools and organizations. So he's got the network to bring in help and assistance and support where needed. But it looks as though his ego is so large that he thinks he can do it by himself, but it's clear he can't do it by himself. And that's when I had to actually admit to myself, right, you know what? You've probably got no intention of opening this school.
He doesn't want to let no one in, because I thought before he just can't get along with people, but now I reckon as a scammer he can't let no one close, because then they're gonna know what he's doing. That's it.
It wouldn't have got as far as what it had if he had like what we said. Some of the key components to leadership is having accountability, having people around them, and he moved like a lone man. And one of the excuses he used when I'd emailed him is that he didn't have anybody else working with him, or a PA, because I said to him, you're obviously very busy, you need to have other people that can answer your emails and plan your diary for you. So I thought from then, and that was in 2016 or 17, I said to you, Kings, he's a scammer. He replied back to emails, but he done it very late. And I know he's been over here a few times. And I just think it's us as a community that been funding his lifestyle. So to me, what are you doing with the money? You are accountable. You do need to tell us what's going on with that money. So for him to be where he is now, I kind of knew it from years ago. I don't know why
it feels like it would have been a lot easier for him to just delegate responsibility for certain things, still live your lifestyle, but designate a certain amount of money to paying this person, this leader in this field, this leader in education, to get this thing off the ground. But it doesn't appear like that's the desire.
How many years has it been? Sorry, from when you said?
6 years he's had the building for.
And then, but when has he kind of been around? When did he kind of?
I just heard of him from the Breakfast Club, and that was like 2015.
That's it. 06, 07, he's been
06, 07, it's a long
as a
time.
black school psychologist, he's been public since about 05, 06.
Yeah, it's been a long time. No, as I said, my emails, I knew about him from before, but like my son, he's 19, so when he was about 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically robbing everyone's peace, because when you say that, right, I just think he ain't really earning no other money. Now I think that. I didn't think that before. I thought he must be doing something that earns him money to get. But now I think he was just living off the donations. I don't even think he was earning like that for that, because he would have enough money.
Not at that time, but he definitely built to be able to start going and talking. I think
he's been relevant. He's been on the circuit, whatever you want to call it, for like nearly 10 years now, right? So in my head, that's where he's earning his money. But the way that he hasn't got no money now, I'm saying he's just been using that money to get about. I think he was just trying to.
Where is it?
Because what he realized is that the more speaking engagements he done, the more people donated. So I think he didn't prioritize getting money from the speaking engagements. Just appear, and then he will get. That's how he gets his money.
That's, I mean, I think Lennon Honor spoke about this. Every one of the states he'd go to, he'd speak about wanting to or intending on building a school in their state, and that would galvanize people to donate to him on that day.
Yeah, he said,
if he wasn't paid to the speaking engagement, he'd lean heavily on, your state needs a school, and he'd get people to donate with the I guess the idea that he'll come back and try and build in their area. And
the power of charisma, man. He literally got a whole generation believing him.
And also as well, his rhetoric of what he used to preach out there has changed somewhat. In regards to black women, single mothers raising children, putting that out there as one of, we're his main supporters, and then he's like kind of gone against us just recently in the past few years with some of the things that he said, statements he said about us. So
he used the rage baiting technique for
definitely
women with the black queens forever, snow bunnies never. That's been his most successful phrase.
He was selling them as slippers, and it made
him viral, and he
he's so out of it. This is what hello, look, now that is just again, he's looking at merchandise, he's doing things, he's just using, so he's become that way more because of the evolution of social media, the things that you say. He might have had originally that's thing
what
that he wanted to do.
Do we think he was always misleading people, or did he lose his way? Did he lack capacity?
I don't know.
Or was
it's difficult to know. But I think he came to prominence as a black psychologist.
Right. Yeah, definitely that was his.
Before the school, I think it's, for me anyway, as soon as the school, he was kind of heavily speaking about the school, it feels like the school was a hustle.
Yeah.
And it's only become clear that it's a hustle because of how he's dealt with the money. No transparency. And then I remember at one point, when he was a prominent black psychologist, he'd be like, I never asked my people for money. And
I remember
then it changed.
That as well. Oh my God.
PayPal. If you donated $10 last week, $20 this week. If you donated $50 this week, cash out.
Until that got frozen. Now it's PayPal.
Oh yeah.
He's just moving. You know what I mean?
I think it's difficult to say whether or not he was always. There was rumors in Philadelphia that he was a part of the NAACP and he tried to raise money and he left the state and started speaking not necessarily about black psychology and school psychology, more about building a school, and it was never in the area that he'd come from. So actually, that would be a warning sign.
Brother, I remember you said if everyone had heard about this fund management issue in the NAACP, it would have helped. Their man there should have pointed out that this guy was holding funds for us, and it all went a bit mad. Because when the man's got 1.2 million in it, because the way GoFundMe and Cash App, just the money just goes in your bank account.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? 1.2 mil.
I just that's what I'm saying. And where did he get all this money from? All these people.
People been donating for time. You see the thing about it. It's so sad that he's a scammer because. I accept it now.
He had the foundation to do something, and I don't think it would have taken that much.
Not even that. I was gonna say, he actually got bars. He actually talks and he speaks truth to power, whatever you want to call it. He actually hits on.
You're gonna realize that a lot of things that he says actually truly resonates with you. You're gonna be like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, I agree with this. So it kind of blinds you to the fact that someone like this that advocates for the black community has a Haitian or some sort of African or Pan-African flag on would be lying to you and trying to scam you. Because for black people, we're used to seeing our people in different ways and not always advocating for us. There's not that many people in the public eye that advocate for black people, whether we're talking about black diaspora or we're talking about black Americans, we're talking about black British, whatever. You don't see many black people model their platforms in a way to where they are speaking up for black people. So when you see someone like Dr. Umar, the black boys need to be protected, and they're miscategorizing them as ADHD and it's unfair and you're not gonna think anything nefarious. You're gonna be like, oh my God, this black brother, he got it going on. He said what he need to say, So it's very interesting because on one hand, yes, he's done a lot of information. He gives a lot of information.
A lot of notes on their head. So it's like people pay because they're like, bro, you're actually, you think you're right. You're right. You say so many things that are right. Don't get me wrong. He's not always good. He can go a bit left, right?
Yeah, and I've seen go left a few times.
But his ability to assess the situation and even suggest what's supposed to happen next, and you
powerful speaker.
You have thought about this. Your intelligence.
Psychologist. He had that
but not every psychologist can do that. This is not.
He obviously
I know many
some
people.
Of that stuff to
I know many people that got degrees, even masters,
us and scam us.
And it's more than his ability. It wasn't just charismatic. He knew the facts. You can tell someone is well studied in this subject.
The psychology side of things.
History.
Went down it and stuff. And
just in terms of history.
In terms of history and the politics and how socio-political things led to other socio-political things. Economies. Don't get me wrong. what's his name? Kwame Nkrumah. Not Kwame Nkrumah. There was I can see other American speakers. I can't remember my man's name. I can see where, if you look, you will see how all of his styles, the way he talks, the things he says, talking points, he's got it from different sources. If you look at all the great American speakers and political activists of the 50s, 60s, 70s, you will see that Umar got that from him, Umar got that from him, Umar got that from him, right? And he just put them all together. So, but to me, when I realized you just really have studied this thing. You have studied everybody in this field. You've studied them all. So that's why people believed. It wasn't just charisma. You clearly know this topic.
It's education as well, like what we were saying. Yeah.
You know this topic. Yeah. You understand the issues of us as a people to a T. You've really looked at it. Some things you're wrong about, some things you go left on, but you have considered everything. So like a scammer would just sound good. You do more than sound good. You have actually studied these things. So it's like, it burns that he's actually a scammer, because that you went through all that just to scam. Because that was an argument I made to someone that said he was a scammer. I mean, he's clearly smart enough to make money another way. He can't be scamming. So that was my belief.
Is he a leader?
No. I
remember us
never
having that discussion in our last one when I was saying that he's a leader of an organisation, such and such, and he's a leader.
He's not a leader.
But
he never was.
He has tried to place himself in that way.
I never think this.
Yeah, I know you said that. I don't agree. I think the way that's how people gave him his money, because he was placing himself as a leader to do something.
I mean, he definitely labelled himself as a leader. He definitely labelled himself.
I don't.
That's been his ammo to be able to get.
I don't see that when you're an individual
like him being a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I think he leaned on
the spirit that he has. Yeah, to me that this isn't what a leader is. This is this idea of somebody with a goal, and he has a drive to do a particular thing, and he's asking for support in it. This isn't a leader. A leader is actually about the people. He's not
a leader because he's scammed. But let's have it right. If he built a school and he built a committee, I'd have no problem with calling him a black leader.
If he built a school, he's the leader of his committee 100%. But he's not doing that. He was definitely a loner all the time. So this is what I mean. To me, he was pushing this example. This is in my most positive conception of Umar. He was trying to build this ideal character of an individual who is willing to sacrifice all his life and time as an individual, knowing full well it might not even work. But I just want to give you an example of what one person who's decided to do for the people can do on his own. Therefore, you guys have no excuse to do something as a group. I thought that in my mind, that was my ideal of what he was trying to represent. He was trying to show, listen, this is what I can do on my own. Right, I'm just here talking, saying what I believe, and then I'm going to build this school. You are helping me, but this is just my conception, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to be here, and I'm going to spend my life doing it, just so everyone can know, like, we've got no excuse. Because as individuals, I could have just been a psychologist. I could have just been quietly. I've decided, no, I'm going to step into this realm. I even figured he understands that we're not really too keen on this whole, like we've said, we're not too keen on being led, we're not too keen on this unity. So he just wanted to be an example of what an individual could do. This is what I thought, this is my rationale for what so this isn't a leader, this isn't someone who thinks that people even want to be led. This is just somebody who said, I'm just going to be an example of what.
You have to have that goal in mind, you can't let nothing stop you. And even when you feel like you can't keep going, you stay consistent and keep going. 1 foot at a time, you're already farther than you ever will go. That's why they say you only need to take 1 step forward. But if you take a step forward every day and stay consistent to it, there's no telling where you will go. There's no telling what you will accomplish. There's no telling what you will gain. But first you must be dedicated to gaining it. Going there. And making it that far. So I'm leaving you with 2 things, and that's dedication and consistency. I wouldn't say which one you're gonna do, but I need you to do both.
We are the fire truck. We are the front line. We are the warrior club. Free. See, hands up if you think you're a warrior. We are the future. Who made that one? The Star made that one.
One person can achieve.
My first red flag for him, even though I would have supported up until this year, a few years ago, he was supposed to debate someone around civil rights leadership, Sarah Susan Say. And this is what we say, go back to egotism. Anyone that has an issue with taking critique, anyone that kind of can't be told that maybe some of their views aren't strong enough, like he acts very defensively. And one of the videos, I'm gonna make sure I send this to you, he was in a hotel room, bare N-words, end this, end that, I'm this, I'm that, just because someone had critiqued
I remember you saying
one of the things he'd said. I remember thinking to myself, why are you so aggressive around someone just challenging one of your views? I remember that
narcissist.
Yeah, that bothered me. I remember thinking to myself, I don't like how you're presenting yourself there still. But again, you come back to kind of the American brashness. You kind of brush it off to.
I tried to debate that in it because, like, I've seen him do that many times. Why I justify that by saying that, yeah, that's Americans for you, bro. Yeah. Why I also brushed it off in that way, because I didn't see him as a leader. You was arguing that, listen, this isn't how a school head teacher should act. And I was like, you're right, but like, he won't do that in a head teacher setting, innit? But he ain't no ideal leader. Like I say, he goes left all the time. He's a extremist.
Yeah.
He's a verbal extremist. Do you get what I mean? He's just an extreme. Do you get what I mean? So that's how I always read him. So he just likes to go far in whatever direction he's going, innit? But it turns out he's just a scammer, innit? Now the main issue is, how does his downfall shape how people view Pan-Africanism? And like we've already said, it does taint it, but for those really,
I think it's larger than that though, isn't it? In terms of his ability to kind of get so many people to donate, I think it goes beyond the ideology of Pan-Africanism. I think it goes deeper to kind of his main cohort may have been single mothers raising boys. And I think the idea of us donating to causes in more general sense as black people has been damaged.
I agree.
Especially
it goes beyond Pan-Africanism. Just in terms of our ability to kind of have trust
in anybody trying to speak.
In popular speakers who've got passion, you just I don't know about.
Yeah. No, I agree. Anybody asking for money on black issues is gonna look sus. Anyone Pan-African is gonna look sus. Anyone who's even comes across super intelligent now, they're gonna look sus. No, you're right.
Dr. Umar people.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Umar.
Yeah, you're one of them, innit? Yeah. I got a tune where I reference him now, and now it's got me thinking I got to take that out. I'm not gonna, but it made me want to take it out. But it is what it is, but I can't take it out. It's too late. So yeah, I mean, he is a good example to lead us onto the problem of the egotistical, person, that egotistical, narcissistic type character that kind of garner all this attention and clout, right? And when it's in terms of being able to safeguard against these type of bad leaders, we need to be aware of these type of red flags, like you say, the lack of accountability and the super defensive.
Yeah, anyone that gets super defensive or aggressive around just general criticism, that's a red flag.
It's a red flag. That's a red flag. You got to wonder straight away, because they should be comfortable, especially in speaking, discussing type, and they should be comfortable stating their point. You
should be welcoming criticism to kind of better strengthen your points.
Yeah, go on, I can win.
See, Umar, if you had intelligence and wisdom, that's what you would do, but you lack that. You're my intellectual inferior.
I'ma deal with Papa Smurf. I'ma deal with that little dirty. I heard you, albino. I'ma handle your tonight. You ain't getting away with that shit. You should have never came for me. I never with your little dirty broke anyway. Still living in your mama house. What type of grown going on 50 still living in this mama house?
So, in terms of safeguards against this, we need to be able to see these red flags, right? Due diligence. You know, we need to pay attention, right? What are they like? Are we seeing these red flags? Are we paying attention? Because sometimes we like them so much, we just overlook it, like I did with Umar.
Yeah, we all
that's
did.
Just Americans, innit?
We all did. We all did.
This approach has made us overly sensitive, though. What I will say about what we just said is we have kind of had an untrusting eye anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to be... We shouldn't allow things like this to make us overly sensitive to the bigger picture. He's just one guy. So what? He's a scammer. It doesn't mean anything actually. It might feel like it does, and it might influence some people to think that giving to a good cause or a guy or Pan-African, but in reality, it doesn't mean anything, right? So we need to be careful because we can be overly sensitive and overly critical.
I think we need to look at him and use him as a good example and be a bit more less trusting and have those things that show us.
We was already less trusting
because we got the Black Messiah thing, yeah. So we got two parts. We've got everyone's looking for that leader, and then we got the ones that trust less, like me. So then there's got to be a fine balance. Like what we're saying, we've got to look at the things that are make a leader, or what we would view a leader for the better of us as community, rather than just giving these different titles, which is a part of why we're having these discussions, yeah? But yeah, he's a prime example, and I think we need to put him out there as a prime example.
Yeah, leadership is a skill set. There's a number of skill sets that you need to be an effective leader. So I think historically some of our greatest leaders have come from religious organisations or strong civil rights grassroots organisations where leadership is taught. You're taught, you go through stages of representing a small group, speaking, articulating small groups' issues, actively achieving outcomes, and then slowly it's a democratic process of actually you're placed in a leadership position because you've demonstrated these qualities. And I think it's difficult now because we've got social media that skews people, because if you look at someone's following, so okay, there's loads of people following there, so you must have some type of credibility. I think actually credibility needs to come from the network of people around you, what other people are speaking about you strongly. And to really just to rebut that point, there's loads of people that were pushing and co-signing Dr. Umar when he was coming up. Loads of people, loads of credible people were co-signing, but I think as soon as it came back that actually he wasn't taking on not just criticism, but he wasn't taking on any assistance,
and there was no transparency about what he was doing.
But just on this note, there's a guy called Saint. He's an American guy, African American guy, something Saint, and he's never been.
You need to understand the functions of an FBI, of a CIA. Yes, these are intelligence agencies. They're supposed to gather information, intelligence. They're also supposed to neutralize threats before the threat rises up. The best way is to catch the threat in its infancy. Make sure that it never comes to fruition. And when you look at certain persons, like say a Dr. Umar Johnson or others, you keep them in position and you keep them in popularity so that they fill the vacuum and the void. Because if they were to be removed, you might get someone in there that's talking something more serious, someone that's a better organizer, someone who's more honest, someone who's a better business person, someone who's a better speaker, someone who's more impactful, someone who can get the job done. So instead, keep the goofball who takes 15 years to build one school. Keep the goofball who's fleeced, in my estimation, no less than $2.5 million from the American blacks. Keep the goofball in there who's lying and stealing, and now he's talking about doing a pop the balloon show, the conscious version. Keep him in there, because you and I both know Dr. Umar getting all these donations via PayPal, via Cash App, and other means. We know that he doesn't have proper accounting. We know that he's definitely engaging in tax evasion. We know that his 501c3 is probably not being properly managed and documented, and maintaining the standards that government requires of such organizations. We know that money's not being accounted for. Dr. Umar has he doesn't suggest to anyone that he has any proper business acumen, management skills, background in finance, or a strong team with him. So why has the IRS not descended upon him? Why has he not been investigated formally by the FBI? Because he's a part of the FBI. He's a part of their structure. Yes, he's a part of their structure. He is a double agent. He is your enemy. And you might say, Marquez, say it ain't so. I wish I could say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I will not go. Turn the lights on. Carry me home. Na, 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 na. I wish I could say it ain't so. But I'll tell you why I must say this. if he was effective, he would have been deleted and marginalized. There's no way in hell you take 15 years to build a school. There's no way in hell people send you millions of dollars and then there's nothing to show and the government doesn't investigate you. This is something the government would investigate unless he's one of their guys. And what can I compare this to? This is like a Sammy the Bull Gravano kind of situation.
A fan of Umar, right? Well, not ever. This is what I'm going to say. He's not a fan of Umar for a while now. He's been calling him out as a scammer. He's a very well-known YouTuber guy. He's quite successful, right?
You're going to show us him as well.
Yeah, I'm going to send you him. Yeah, he's a good. I'm going to put a video up. So he offered 40K when it all happened. He made a whole video say, "Listen, Umar, I don't like you. No, I don't like you." I've seen that video
on new TV. Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Right. So he don't like Umar, but he did donate to the school back in the day. He was a school teacher as well at once upon a time. And when Umar first started, he donated to the school. And what he says on the note, but unlike you, what he says on this, right, is he doesn't regret donating at all. And he doesn't, even though he's not a Pan-Africanist, he's not really Pan-Africanist, he thought the school needed to be done. It was a good idea. That's why he supported it, but he's not a Pan-Africanist. He thinks that actually he still respects the idea, and anybody who supported the idea shouldn't feel bad because you just wanted a good thing to happen. And we should still be open to trusting the chance that this could happen. So, you see not somebody trying to...
the leader.
Yeah, but not with him, but in general. Because what he was saying is basically what I'm trying to say. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be turned off to these things that we know are fundamentally right. He is a scammer, but the reason the scam worked is because the thing that he was trying to sell you fundamentally want. You fundamentally want what he was. So if somebody else has got that on offer, we shouldn't just assume that, nah, I'm not going to do it because last time the guy said that.
And honestly, I think many of you either currently or have at some point believed in Dr. Umar, and I don't think any of you are fools, honestly. I think that I personally respect someone who has donated to his school, Black people, more than those who haven't. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you why. Because yes, he did fool you and he fooled me, but you have to try in this world. Right. You have to try.
Right.
We can sit back and complain about Black folks.
But you donated to what he was saying out of his mouth. You donated to the cause. Now you donated now God going to deal with the person that took all the money and said, I ain't doing nothing I said I was going to do. I'm going to take this money and fly to Africa. God going to deal with that person. But you donated to the cause and the building of the school.
Complain about white folks, but to take action, whether the action is you directly doing something or funding those who are doing something, that's big and that's hopeful. And so I respect those people way more than the cynical people like, I didn't even believe, I never donated. It's like, well, this means that you're just not a person that's trying to help. You're not trying to be a part of the problem. Sometimes we get tricked. I'd rather get tricked trying to do the right thing than to just sit on my butt and not do anything. May I acknowledge Mr. Chima supporting the work again. Shout out to Chung. And
he was a lot. Do you get what I mean?
So in the safeguards, I don't think any of us should be donating to one individual. It should be a brand or a company, organization,
those can still be,
a network. They can all still be scammed, but I think in terms of red flags, you're a lot easier to be scammed by one person that's not accountable to anybody in their brand or their organization apart from themselves.
I think what you said is the best one a second ago is the background. You can see what they've done already. If you've got nothing, like the background of my man is that he's coming NAACP. Right, so he had nothing to go from nothing to building a whole school with a whole new curriculum in a whole new area with millions of.
Did he fully build the curriculum?
No,
exactly.
This is what, that's what it was all reliant on.
There should have been some time scales. There should have been some, when you're full planning.
So much was required to get to what people were donated from someone who's never done anything remotely like that. He didn't even do a Saturday school.
Yeah.
So you've gone from no school. Yeah, you've gone from an online school, right? There's so many different levels of doing something similar that you could have done to show that you were accomplished, but nobody cared because he spoke so well. We threw that out the back. But I think. But I feel like
no competency.
He demonstrated no competency,
and this revelation of everything, and actually knowing as well and having it, but it's actually come to pass, and that is so much money that could have done the community good with that pure idea. You know, I'm so annoyed with him.
And then on that shows that his mum, I think, has got multiple sclerosis, and he lives in a...
It was dementia.
Dementia.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Has he been looking after her then, maybe?
Supposedly,
he has a whole thing.
Because when he first come out, it was like, we need money for me and Mama King Kong Consciousness to look after us for the next couple of weeks until they unfreeze my account.
Yeah, it's a sad thing, but I think that is like the background is key. That if you're asking for money to do X and you've never done Y or W or nothing, then what the hell, bro? And again, scale. If X is a small thing, if you've never done nothing but you're only asking for some money to do something small, that looks that it could be within your capacity. I can see how even I could do that. Then that makes sense. But building an entire school with no background is wild to believe that like, as much as I did kind of believe in him, I always kind of doubted it. I never donated that. Part of me always thought, bro, it's a bit, let me wait and see, because it was just it was wildly huge what he was trying to do,
So that goes back to the kind of the problem of ego, because there has to be like a delusion of grandeur.
Yes,
it's very, very difficult.
Definitely had that.
It's difficult to kind of discern whether or not he was always that way inclined, but the delusion of grandeur is another red flag.
Facts.
So that moves us on to the other two that are on here.
Let's
have a little talk about these two prominent.
I mean, they kind of had a similar strategy. Dr. Malachi York, he had a whole cult behind him,
But Tamarin in Atlanta, he built something. He did actually build something, and there was...
Who's Tamarin? Is that what his name is?
No, Tamarin was the location of Dr. Malachi York's, I guess, compound.
Okay.
Where he kind of pyramids, he had schools set up, people were selling... books, and there was kind of a certain quota that people had to kind of reach in selling the
so
the
he
books.
had some sort of structures and bits.
So things were happening in terms of kind of comparing him with Dr. Umar. He'd achieved something in terms of he'd got a certain amount of land. There was Ansar Allah community he had before that. I mean, he'd run, I guess, quasi-religious organizations prior to kind of the Nuwabians. He had the Ansar Allah community, which was kind of a Islamic movement. He had that in Brooklyn before they moved to Atlanta. But he had a huge community in Atlanta. But the kind of sexual exploitation of the people when they got there had been rife, and it's kind of a lot of
people or women, men and women.
I heard it was all sorts. Kids.
I think the charges.
I don't know if it's true.
The actual charge was kind of transporting minors over state lines. So he wasn't actually charged with kind of any kind of rape or sexual exploitation. The same way that Brother Polite has been. But the rumours and the stories of couples going up there and men losing their women, like women were told to kind of report to him at certain times, and those have been going on years before the charges. I mean, I think I ended up getting 138 years for trafficking children underage, but I think the amount of faith, I mean, he placed himself as a not just a master teacher, but almost like he positioned himself as a messiah. So if you look at some of these books, he always puts himself in the kind of position of the messiah, where people that still follow Nuwapians or still follow the kind of the doctrine will view him as not just a master teacher, but some kind of messiah,
prophet type.
And I think that's a red flag.
I want to say congratulations on your new title as Imperial Grand Potentate. Can you tell me what it means to us as Nuwabian people?
I wouldn't say it means anything as to Nuwabian people per se, but in the Masonic world, after you finish traveling, if you make the decision that you want to go over into the shrine and cross that desert, then you do that. If you want to stay there and climb higher and higher, then you take on different titles, depending on what you do for the shrine. And the people, I'm more concerned with the Afro Masonic lodges and the Afro shrine, because there is a split in Freemasonry between the whites and the blacks, and they have the whites have blacks pledging to them, when in actuality the first Freemason was Nimrod, son of Cush, Ethiopian, and they should be getting their charters from us. So I'm barely here to set the record straight, and I think it's time for Freemasons, I think it's time for us to come forward, because we're getting a bad name because of things that Caucasian Masons are doing, like Albert Pike and Albert Mackey and them, with their books Moral Dogma, where they give praise to Lucifer, and now Freemasons worldwide are being thought of as satanic and all that. And I think it's time for us to step up and let people know what we're allowed to let them know about our fraternity, right? But to set the record straight. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fine. Thank you.
That's definitely a red flag.
that whole logic is problematic. Humans have this propensity to idolize somebody that is actually helping them in this way. So that happens. But yeah, I've met a few of these people online, and the way they defend my man, say it's all a conspiracy, see him as a master teacher, prophet, messiah type, all these words. They really love this guy. I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually know the ins and outs of his case. I don't know if the ins and outs of what he'd done and achieved, like, so whether it was just his charisma or whether he was actually teaching them stuff that, because all the teachers I've had, I'm not gonna lie, from Malachi, the ones I've seen on YouTube, I do think a lot of it's nonsense. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, some, I guess, the more space related.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, bruv, whatever, man. I'm not hearing that. He relates it to spiritual principles and truths that are fundamentally true about human psyche, soul, whatever you want to call it. And this is where I think he hooks people. But yeah, a lot of it is fairy tales. And I think a big part of that being successful is his charisma. However he does it, he's able to talk to them in a way where they're willing to accept his idea. You know, 9 ether. Like, yeah, everyone has ever quoted him about this 9 ether stuff, right? That, to me, and I've questioned them on it. They have no understanding of it. But when they insert that in the conversation, they are certain about it.
Yeah, no, I would
until I question
10 years
them.
ago, I would have been that person. So the 6 ether individual would be like the Asians and the white people whose hair comes out and grows straight. 9 ether, our hair grows to the yeah. Nah, I remember because I went to some of his right knowledge classes in Brixton. He used to have right knowledge classes in Brixton. One of his sons used to teach a right knowledge class in Brixton, and some of the doctrine, I guess you'd call it now,
definitely.
but some of the information, the right knowledge teachings, was interesting and empowering at points, but I think
it makes you feel good.
Yeah, and
that's where it is. It's what it is. That's what, and that's the charisma. Charisma has this way of making you feel seen and making you feel all good. When somebody has charisma, that's what they do. It's all mind games, man. Mind games. And I think he must have done that. Like I said, I don't know the details, but from my understanding, what he's convinced people of, you must have just rizzed them up.
And then there's a background of a lot of the books that he produced. He had like a group of women that were kind of referencing different books all over the world, and they'd always make him the author, and never kind of reference the people where the books and the information's come from.
Plagiarism too.
Yeah, plagiarism.
Remember, and it's not even. He doesn't even listen to what he's saying. He didn't plagiarize it. He's instructed women, so he's powered them in such a way that they're willing to do this and then act like nothing mad has happened. This is the power of Riz. It's mad. Like, Brother Polite, not nearly on that same scale. He just came across like a super intelligent, well-studied person. So it's like you want to hear what he's going to say because he just sounds like he studied it. You know what I mean?
Positioned himself. He
positioned himself as a well-studied guy.
So I used to watch on at TV, and I used to watch a lot of his debates, and I used to like the way he kind of debated with the kind of Morris Science Temple, the Hebrew Israelites. He had books on economic development. There was one saying he had that love is law and family is business, and I like the idea of that, like in dealing with your family, not in terms of kind of the cold-hearted business-wise, but in terms of how you economically empower your partner, your children to build businesses.
Isn't that his poly side as
He
well?
had a poly situation.
Yeah, so then he had that, but it's that poly side that kind of came into the sexual exploitation. Like he was charged with rape of a minor.
With him, I can proudly say,
and sentenced to, I think it's 7 years he got.
Is it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was 7 years. Polite,
Is he there now?
Yeah,
he got sentenced. He got sentenced.
Yeah,
okay.
7 years. I think he got 7 years.
With him, I can proudly say, like, as much as I knew he was intelligent, I liked to do his debate. I didn't like him. I knew there was something off about him. I knew there was something. So
he came across again as that egotistical. I am man. I know.
Yeah, I didn't like him. So when this happened, I wasn't surprised. I'm not gonna lie.
Many nights depressed that black people still in religion. Woke up many nights because everybody in every religion they in cannot deny the fact that it's a religion that we walked away with after we was oppressed. I ain't met one black person that tried to introduce to me a religion that they didn't get from the people that held them captive. But they want to talk to me about merely calling the white man the devil. What about taking this goddamn religion? Oh, but you're one of them slick Negroes who can do better with it than the white man can. Oh, the white man didn't even think that one day you was gonna try to make the religion yours. Y'all so slick. He can enslave you, whip you inside out, castrate you, manipulate you, do genetic experiments on you, give you diseases, give you syphilis, incapacitate you, study the colors you like, watch how you relate to your own children, but he ain't never think that you was gonna be able to use this Bible or this Quran to yourself. He never even thought that far. He slipped up, and somehow y'all gonna use this book to free yourselves. The same book he used to enslave you, because the best thing that ever happened to you, nigga, is that you was enslaved, so you got the books, right?
But he fully done a mad thing, like he's one of his partner's daughters, and then bruv, whatever in it, like fully done it, bruv. He's done out here. But like both of them, what's with this sexual exploitation? Like, what is this? What is this? The psychology of narcissism? What do you think it is? It's just a power thing.
It's definitely a power thing. I think it's
they're in control all the time.
Not the seductive, but I think it's the corruption. So they say power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he had absolute power of the women who had kind of given themselves to him, their trust.
And man just has to use it.
Yeah.
For him to be the
But he has it. He's got a poly life. He could get other girl, but he wants one of his wife's kids out. What's mad? Well, do you get what I mean? Like that's just so I'm trying to think, because it's not for the for the nut. Like, it's why, bro. So this is why I'm asking that, because I'm trying to understand the I don't want to understand, but I don't see the logic. Obviously I wouldn't see the logic, but you get what I mean? Like, why, bro? Anyway,
perversion. I don't know. I think it's interesting, because at what point? Because he used to speak about things like I'm trying to get my desires out of the way, because there's so much things I wanted as a young person that I didn't get. And I think
is that what you said?
Yeah, I think part of how I've thought to myself is that you was never wanted by women maybe when you was young.
I mean, yeah.
So you've come into a point where you've got loads of women and you can't discern between.
I think that's a terrible excuse.
No, I don't think anything excuses, but I'm trying to justify the psychology of someone who would abuse the child of a woman that you're with.
No, I'm with you, but I think that's an excuse. I think that's something that people that do mad things, how they rationalize it in their own head.
I'm saying before the madness, I remember him saying this, before the madness happened, I remember him saying that I've got certain desires that weren't fulfilled as a child, and I'm as
a child. Do you get what I mean? You see how that's mad? Anyway, sorry. I'm saying, obviously, as a child, he was weird
necessarily
already.
Towards that side of it, but just generally as a grown-up boy, he was ugly to a lot of people, clearly, and he had to fulfill his ego.
When he said desires, you're speaking about kind of the way he spends money, because he lived a lavish life. He kind of the cars.
That's right. Made sure his wives were all looked after.
He made it clear that he wanted the lifestyle to be as important as kind of the work.
And I remember that. And it used to piss me off as well. I don't know. Because I just thought it was a bad representation of what somebody that's conscious, because he's pushing himself as a conscious is supposed to do. I didn't like that. Yeah, super materialistic. I didn't like
that's where Naba's saying it came from, because of things that he.
When I say desires, that's what I'm speaking of. He's the materialism that he kind of exuded.
I just think this is him trying to rationalize it, right? Because he's got an audience that are trying to respect him intellectually, so he's trying to rationalize it in the way that they can just relate to it. But really, you're just like I don't know, man. I just think it's a good excuse. Just sounds sick. Good. Sounds good, innit?
Sick.
All right, so check out the Ndinkra Symbols Connect the Dots Drawing Book series. We have 4 books in the series, all with 33 Ndinkra symbols turned into Connect the Dots puzzles. You have the name of the symbol, the phonetic spelling of the symbol, the meaning of the symbol, and the proverb attached to the symbol, because they usually have one. You can catch them all on Amazon. Enjoy, fun for the kids. Polarising Boot Camp is a program we've created for 8 kids, secondary school kids preferably. And basically we teach strength and conditioning, we teach boxing, fundamentals, meditation, which includes breath work and mindfulness, and nutrition. We just teach them some things that we had to learn in later life, and it would be nice if someone had told us a bit earlier. Now, it's a community funded program, raise money to run this and pay for this. We give them a whole bunch of kit. They all get some gloves, they all get wraps, they all get a medicine ball, exercise mat, skipping rope, and they all get a resistance band. They even get some more stuff from sponsors that have supported this boot, and it's all done in Brixton Street Gym, the original sponsor. If anybody's interested, please get in contact, pypbootcamp@gmail.com if you want to try and get involved in the next one, because we're going to keep running this. try and keep it a distant program. So this leads us on to the bro 19 Keys. Yeah.
Okay,
now, I like 19 Keys. Yeah.
He presents himself quite well.
He presents himself quite well, but I remember you not disliking him, but not liking him so much. You know.
No, I remember. I think the high level conversations. There was certain parts of the high level conversations where it felt like his guests was less important than him. And I think I wouldn't publicly say that I dislike him because I think it's powerful what he's doing. But I think for me, and I think I've always used this example of kind of the difference between my disdain for an arrogant, overly confident character now that I rated when I was in my 20s on teens. So I use with that Ben Whitaker and Nassim Hamid. I don't like the flashy flamboyancy now. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, I liked it. Like I was drawn to it, and I think there's aspects of that I see in 19 Keys. I don't think I'd critique it. I just think to myself, for me, as soon as someone's message seems to be more about them than it is about the message, and I'm not saying that's all the way true with 19 Keys, but I'm saying that I step back a bit when I see that. And it's the same reason why at points I really liked Dr. Delbert Blair over maybe a Bobby Hemmett. Those older teachers, the ones that were kind of over the top, and I warmed to when I was younger, but as I've grown older, I've become less drawn to someone who presents themselves in a kind of egotistical way. And I think 19 Keys has got a calm demeanor. He's not kind of gonna go over. He's not brash in that. He's not overly brash. So I think I'm not speaking that in terms of for me, it was more around the high level conversations and I still watch all of them, but at points I don't get through the whole thing because it's like he's speaking more than the person that he's in.
I know what you mean. Keys has got bars. He's got something to say. I think that's
branded himself very well. I think he came out with a strong brand, his look, and then that captured people, and then his points. Not necessarily his points.
I think his points. I think his brand
when he came out.
Oh yeah, it's Nation of Islam.
He was doing his part. That's what got people, like what you said originally, being a part of a institution or structure or religion or something, then that puts you more of a place. So I think that's why he's kind of,
because his family come from Nation. Doesn't he come from?
He's in a way. He's a tree of the fruit of Islam. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, for me, I think his verbiage, that is his selling point. That is his product. So when you say that, I think that's a logical consequence of being who he is. His product is he's talking, even how he frames himself. He doesn't pretend to have something. He has products. He sells products. But
that's how I knew him.
He puts himself out as somebody who's got things to say or value. And even these high level conversations, his whole brand is, we're just going to talk about something like is a bit of a higher frequency, meaning it's more of a higher consciousness than other people who are just having conversations. Right. So his thing is his verbiage. Right. So when he has a pod or he has these conversations, it is literally, you're here to hear me talk. Not just, I'm not interviewing. Do you get what I mean? You're here to hear me talk, you're here to hear them talk, but we're going to have a discussion. So my points are as valued as, it's not an interview kind of platform. So I didn't really, and I know what you mean. He can go on and on, like he can. But that's literally his product. That's his brand. That's his brand. That's his product. And his goal is, I want more people to engage in these type of conversations. So I've got to be having them. That's his logic. That's what I think it is anyway. So he's risen, he's created his platform, he has a whole style, which is a whole part of the culture he's trying to create, because that's another thing. He considers himself a thought leader in the sense that he's trying to lead the thought of the culture into a specific direction. He doesn't see himself as a leader, but more of a thought leader, and I do like that. He does try and represent ideals of what masculinity is, and he says that, and I've heard people comment like he's not a dad, so should he really be doing that? But fundamentally, I don't see no negatives of this guy. He seems to be very respectful. Like, I've seen him only kind of crash out, not real crash out, but have a back and forth one time, and it was very measured. You know what I mean? So he's not super defensive.
Himself very well, I think.
His branding's good, but his etiquette, I'm getting at the way that defensive.
He doesn't get overly defensive or aggressive.
He's not aggressive. He's very controlled, very mindful. He speaks very well. He doesn't promise a whole bunch of things that he's never going to do. I was introduced to him when he was with the Paradigm Shifters. It was him, Derek, Brother Ben X, Rizla, Rizla, what's his name?
Rizla
Islam.
Have a real capability of doing. And anybody that changes the pattern, anybody that changes the environment, anybody that changes the way someone thinks, anybody that introduces a new language, new ideas, that impression to people and unlock minds away from what's been already set, then they paradigm shifters. But it's important for us to introduce this new language because it represents a paradigm shift. When the internet came and they had memes and hashtags, the fact that we was using that language represented a new paradigm shift. So when you become conscious, like, wait a minute, I hear new languages. That means the shift is happening. But the thing is, you don't have to just watch them, you can create them. So me and my brothers, we get together, man, and we call it the shifters, man, for one, just so it'd be easy to recognize, just so you have that language in your own mind to where you say it frequently, to where you understand that you are part of it too. We just representatives of paradigm shifts because every day we wake up, we change the world because we change minds. And so we think that we got to wait another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years to change what's been happening in this black paradigm, but we can do it today and the world will be changed tomorrow, because if you put us in front of 1 billion people, then we just changed 1 billion people's lives, and we shift the pattern that they thinking by introducing a new model of thinking.
And for me, paradigm shifting is basically changing the mindsets. And of course, you can't do anything without a conscious thought. So changing the mindsets and changing the actions within the people. So for example,
and Anya, that lady, the Anya girl, and it was the 5 of them, the paradigm shifters. Rizla's still there, man. I see him.
I haven't seen him a lot on the timeline.
He's not got a lot of new content. You're right, but he is still out there. Remember, his thing's been. He's taken down like 25 times. He's always losing his page and then building it back up 70k, losing it. He says some stuff that is not going to work out here. So for me, the paradigm shifters was always about bringing forward a way of thinking and behaving. He does do a lot of stuff about making money and being more financially successful and group economics. But it's not just money with him.
Thing as well.
It's not just money with him. It's money for this. It's a pro-black approach to money.
To do it,
it's not just money.
And he employs his whole family.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I think there's one where he goes into his factory and he kind of shows the different parts of his family that run different aspects of the business. And in terms of kind of due diligence, if you do your due diligence, that's the type of thing that makes you credible in my eyes. That you're hiring and employing your family as well.
I would say personally, like he's not a leader. I won't classify a leader, but as a thought leader, I respect what he's doing, and I don't see the problem with someone. So some could see the same ego that you're talking about. What I would say is, with that type of situation, we got to take it, like, even if you do see him, not you necessarily, but even if you do see him as egotistical, you got to ask yourself, what's the negatives in what he's doing and what's the positives? And Americans, bro, what can you do? You know what I mean? Like, that's how they move, you know. So
but I think what's interesting as well, because we're going to go on to the thought leader thing, but you said you wouldn't classify him as a leader, but you agree with him, his specific definition of being a thought leader, of trying to shift the cultural thinking of people. So in that respect, he is a leader then.
Yeah, and he's also an example through some of the points that we've said, like, you know, around who you have around you, being able to back what you say, you know, living a part of it. So he is a leader, I would think he is. I mean, he wouldn't put himself out there maybe for the reasons that you
because
said.
Of a thought leader, he does call himself a leader. He's just a leader of thought. That's a specialism. That's a specialism.
That's lead the thought in a specific, the thought of the culture.
In a specific direction.
Okay. But I know what you mean. But again, when I'm saying this term leader, it is specifically related to what we defined as a black leader earlier, i.e. someone who's trying to lead black people in this pro-black type of way, trying to literally lead us. I hear what you're saying. I do see what you're saying.
Did you say that's just a fine line? Because I think we're going to come onto it later. But I think
it brings us to the next point.
So just on that then, this is what I'll say to that. Remember, we've agreed that accountability and responsibility, without those two, you can't really classify yourself as a leader. If you're not accountable and you're not responsible for a group of people, you're not accountable to nobody. Now, he might be accountable to the NOI, but in terms of the people, like, he's not really accountable. Like, he can say what he likes.
Okay.
No one can say no. You could, because this, you know. And he's not responsible for anybody he's talking to. He's not just saying what he likes. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Within the NOI, he's accountable, but that's not the people he's. Do you get what I mean?
And I'd argue that his even though his brand is kind of that NOI is his heritage. I don't know if he's an active member leader of FOI chapter in the state that he's from. So in terms of kind of, he's probably less liable for the NOI to say, you know what, you can't say that, or that's like take that down. I doubt that's kind of his.
He said many times. He says certain things that he's not taught in the NOI. He studies things that are not part of his NOI teaching. Do you know what I mean? He's not anti them or anything like that, but he's definitely outside the realm of what they teach.
So we're going to get onto the, defining leadership more clearly. I know you've just spoken about all those different leaders or thought leaders. So we're going to go through it a bit more and define.
Yes, please.
For the sake of it.
Okay, so leader versus thought leader, right? A leader has responsibility over a group of people and is accountable to them. So that's what we just pointed out.
Yeah.
Now, thought leader doesn't have those two things. So that's one thing, right? Now, there is a definition of thought leader. The dictionary definition of thought leader is a specialist in a particular field. He's like the go-to guy in that field that people refer to understand things. So that's like a guru. You use that term. That's like a guru. A guru of fitness would be a thought leader.
See, in that respect, then Nike would be a thought influencer as opposed to a thought leader. Then
agreed. He's not a specialist in no particular field, but he's trying to influence the way people think, and that's what he really means when he classes himself as a thought leader. So this is kind of the difference between a leader and a thought leader in this context, right? And then we considered what a manager is and the difference between a manager and a leader. I suppose my understanding in the end is that there are similarities and differences, but a good leader has to be a good manager, I would argue, and a manager is not necessarily a leader.
Now, I think in organizations, a good manager, you'd hope that a good manager is a good leader, and you'd hope that your leader has good management skills. Definitely. So I think a leader inspires a vision and motivates people towards a long-term goal, while a manager plans, organizes and controls resources to achieve short-term, medium-term objectives within existing systems. So I think both of those kind of brief definitions, you'd want your leader to encompass those characteristics, those attributes.
Yeah.
But I think thought leader,
skill sets,
an individual company recognizes leading authority. Again, I think it's debatable whether or not you can say they lead, but I think you're right. You have to have a specialism. You've got to be, you've got to have a specific authority
in that field.
So you'd say you could argue that Dr. Umar was a school, an education
thought leader.
Yeah, in terms of his
Pan-African thought leader.
I wouldn't even say
specialist because he knows every Pan-African guy. He can tell you when they was born, how old they were.
His degrees were in school psychology, so I would argue that his specialism was in.
He's not a thought leader in psychology. He's not a go-to guy in psychology.
In terms of the specialist.
He has a specialist skill set in terms of the layman, but in terms of psychology, he's not the go-to guy.
He learned from whoever the go-to.
Yeah, he's not the guru of psychology. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not the specialist out of the because when we say specialist in the sense, we mean out of a group of psychologists, one of them is a thought leader, not all of them.
Yeah,
the one that everybody admires or respects or goes to.
I think he'll be a thought leader in terms of psychological development of the black boy.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't think that Michael pick you up a bit.
I think he was definitely a thought leader in that respect. I mean, he defined himself as a kind of generic, hark back to the generation civil rights movement. But I think when we kind of assess people's qualities. So I mentioned Aris Latham, Robin Walker. Although they don't categorize themselves as black leaders, I'd say they are thought leader. I'd say they're leaders in that they have specific specialisms that will lead us as a black people in a better direction. So Robin Walker in terms of us, how we identify ourselves, how we understand our history, how we understand our identity and culture. Aris Latham in terms of health. All of these things will lead black people to make better decisions about their life in general. 19 Keys in terms of his economic messaging, I think that's powerful in terms of his group economics, the way he's kind of practically lives that group economics. That for me, he could potentially be a thought leader in that respect in terms of his ability to live out a group economic.
So this is where, right, so when it comes to economics or group economics with Keys, he's not a thought leader in economics. He works with Earn Your Leisure. That's a platform, man. Two brothers. Them man are financial gurus. Them man are thought leaders in finance, right? Keys just has a good understanding of economics and the need for better economics, and he knows how to refer to those who know more, and he studies them and learns from them.
Yeah, but that's what we said though. It's about setting yourself around the people
100%.
to be able to push it. So those people aren't doing it. They're the gurus of that, but he's the thought leader of pushing that out there for the general.
In terms of the way I mean thought leader, but not in terms of this definition as a specialist in that field. He's not a specialist, but he's good at communicating. He's, again, because his skill set is the ability to oratate and his ability to talk. He knows how to speak and he can articulate his thoughts, and he wants to keep thoughts. He wants us to think about the things that are more important, right? So this is one of the things he's learned how to talk about from the people who know the stuff, right? So, and then you mentioned two other people, right? You mentioned
Harris Lath and Robin Walker.
Robin Walker, right? So Robin Walker is a specialist in the field. He's a thought leader because he's a specialist in the field. But his skill set is educating people in that field. It would take another Keys type to actually utilize his skill set and maybe create a school curriculum based around his, and actually create the school, the whole setup, the infrastructure that utilizes that specialist skill set knowledge. So the knowledge is one thing. Knowing the thing is different to utilizing the knowledge. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Now, the leader has the capacity.
Why I say that is that he does. I mean, I think he's probably right in terms of his visibility. So his visibility is kind of when we wrote the book. That's kind of the famous book. But he's got a curriculum, a website. I can't even name it off the top of my tongue. But I know Robin Walker, Harris Lathan is similar. He's got I'm not sure where it is.
They've got organisations.
They've got organisations.
They're running businesses. They're doing things that are actively helping.
In terms of Black history, I'd argue that he is a thought leader. He is
in this definition. 100%. He is the specialist. He is the go-to guy. 100%. But what I'm saying is
he's not as visible as maybe we might expect someone who's a popular thought leader. He's nowhere near as visible as 19 Keys.
So Robin Walker goes on the same platform this goes on, right? The Hidden Science Academy, right? Now, Hidden Science Academy, has Leon Marshall, and he does great talks, but he gets other people involved and they give different presentations. Leon Marshall's the scientist, right? He talk about melanin. He spoke about so many things, right? He's got many lectures, very successful. Robin Walker stuff goes on here. Now, what the Hidden Science Academy have done, they've created a whole kind of infrastructure, a platform to inform the people on various. Now, this is more thought leader in the term Keys means, trying to guide the way the culture thinks and describes things. Now, the thought leader in terms of this definition is what Robin Walker is. He just made sure he's a specialist in this particular field. And I am going to create products in this field because I'm a specialist in this field. I'm going to create books, I'm going to create curriculum. Well, of course I am. But that's it. I create and they exist. That's it. My job's done. Do you get what I'm saying? It is the job of the rest of us to utilize what he's created, what he's intellectual property is, and push that out, create the platforms, make sure the people. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So this is the kind of the two aspects, the two sides of the coin that are required, right? And a good leader is good at finding all of these thought leaders, these specialists in the different skills, and putting them together to go towards a certain direction. That's what I want to say about that. What I do want to add is another video from predictive programming, that same professor I was talking about earlier, right? So he defines great leaders. Again, he's a professor. He studies history and sociology, and he lectures these high school students, really good lectures. He gives a definition of what makes a great leader based on the great leaders of history. These are great leaders that won great wars and create great empires and were considered by their people and everyone to be great leaders, really good ones. Again, Alexander wasn't really a great leader, even though he's called Alexander the Great, but his dad, Philip II, he was a great leader. And he mentions Abu Muhammad was one. Caesar was actually a great leader. Like, I didn't really know about Caesar till I watched his lecture on Caesar, but actually he was a G of a leader, actually. Hannibal, like all the great leaders throughout history, they basically have these three traits, and he breaks it down very clearly, but he basically says that one is they're so strategic they become visionaries. So they're heavy on the strategy. They don't just have a goal, they're heavy on the strategy. All right, we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, E, D, and they have a long term. It's not like this is until next week. Because the vision is big, but the strategy is detailed. Like, I know what we're going to do. This is what we got to do. So they're so strategic. It's like they're visionaries. To everybody there, everyone is in awe of how strategic this guy is. You know, I'm a big kid because I always think of like a Shredder or like a Batman type. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, they always got a plan. They got some proper plan that nobody really understands, but just do what they say because they always win in the end, right? Well, I know these are cartoons, but this is this idea. It's like it looks like magic to everyone that's following them. You seem to just know what to do, like raw. So they're so visionary, they're so strategic, they're like visionaries. 2, they're so innovative, they become revolutionary. What he means by that is they've come up with a completely new way of doing it, or a way that's not necessarily completely new, but is completely novel. No one recognized
former systems in a way that no one else.
No one recognized that you can just do it like this,
and that's what
they recognized. Yeah. and everybody recognizes that raw. This is basically, you got to throw out the old way of doing things. I know you got to throw out the old way of doing things to do it the way you're trying to do it now, right? And then the last one is that they are so disciplined they become selfish. Like, this is the guy, you know, first one in, last one out type. You know, they put in, they're willing to do every job. So everyone that works for him can't say nothing because they've done every job. They've seen their boss do every job. These are the 3 aspects of great leaders. And like I say, he's not just saying it he's going through historically all the great leaders.
Organizational consultant.
Now, it turns out that these personality traits are consistent with extremely successful people, okay? So when we study other great leaders, for example, Genghis Khan, Muhammad, then we will recognize they all share very similar personality traits. And I want you to remember the 3 distinct qualities that make them great world leaders, okay? The first is they are strategic to the point of visionary. This means they have a vision of what the world should be. And then they have a long-term plan on how to achieve that, okay? They're very strategic. The second thing is they are innovative to the point of revolutionary. Okay? So what they understand is if you want to change the world, you must destroy the status quo. You must change the way society is structured, okay? And they're willing to do that, even though they know it'll be a very bloody process involving lots of wars, okay? That's the second quality that they have that's different from everyone else. The third quality is they are extremely disciplined to the point of selfless. Okay? They are fanatical and obsessed with achieving their vision. They won't eat, they won't sleep until they achieve their vision. For them, it's all about achieving the vision and the greater good as opposed to personal happiness. Right? Does that make sense? So this is a pattern that we'll see over and over again where the great world leaders that have changed history forever have possessed these 3 distinct qualities that make them unique of their time, okay? And so Genghis Khan, Muhammad are 2 examples, but also like Napoleon and Julius Caesar, okay? Basically all the great world conquerors in human history.
Go through all the great leaders in history and you see that they all have these 3 traits. So fundamentally, this is what we should be looking for. To some degree, we can all see the logic in having these 3 traits in a great leader. Yeah, and I think that sums up that, you know, I would just want to add, we are in the era of the influencer, where people, you know, have followers of an ideology without responsibility and without actually leading. That is the area that we are in, right? And we got so many people that kind of, you know, Andrew Tates, the Charleston White, the Kevin Samuels, the Charlie Kirks, all of these people, you know, Candy Sowers I mentioned earlier, all of these people say stuff, people like them, people follow them, they get all this attention, they have no real responsibility, they have no real accountability, they just say stuff and it garners a whole bunch of attention, and now they have a lot of influence because they've done this, right? So this is the area we're in. And, you know, I want to give a video of all of these guys, and because because it's dangerous, really, because these guys get a lot of influence and they say some wild stuff. Andrew Tate says some wild stuff. He's like, white people are being genocided because of immigrants. He's white people are being genocided, bro. That's what's going on now when Muslims are coming. White people is crazy. Charleston White, he said, like, I can't wait for slavery to come back. Like, it's wild, bro. Wild.
Kevin Samuels
used to love like being triggering. He that was his whole style. I understand it because he was trying to be this bad cop type logic or devil's advocate type logic. But one thing I know about him is, particularly when it comes to black people or black women, he wasn't really pro-black. He's like the person I was talking about earlier that might be pointing out a truth, but he's actually malicious.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got an underlying disdain for
he's malicious. He don't really like him. So I don't want to hear you say it, because I can tell you're not really trying to do this from a place where you're trying to help. You're just trying to, it's distasteful.
And, like a black woman broke your heart. And this is just
wherever it is, man. He might just be self-hating, and that might never even happen. But he's just better in it. And then there's Charlie Kirk. Like, I don't really want to talk too much about him because I don't really care. But we all know the kind of rhetoric he was into, and people love that kind of rhetoric. And it's just about saying wild stuff, as far as I'm concerned. But people that like that, people love that, innit? And all of these types, they get a lot of clout, they get a lot of influence, which does give them the sense of leadership. But they're not leaders.
No.